Hey everybody, it's Mikey, the OCD audiophile. Good to see everyone. We're going to look at the killer grounding system that we just did. We just finished the AC setup for the listening room, and it's pretty killer. So I'm going to go through that right now. Okay, so over here, as you can see, this is the feed. Okay, so that conduit goes along and under the crawl space, and it comes from the main meter, and it brings us a heavy gauge feed from the meter box right over to where it punches through the wall here, which is the closet in the listening room. Okay, so in there we have our own panel with breakers, completely isolated and separate from the rest of the house, just for the audio rig. Okay, now what we did today was these little guys here. Okay, you see four of those. Those are four gauge. Those are silver plated copper in Teflon, and they go out to four different ground rods. Okay, and you can see where they kind of dug. I mean, they did a good job, man. I can't even see. I think one's right out here. Let's look. Let's see if it's under this. Yeah, there it is. See that right there? She terminates in there anyways. Okay, so there's one here, and then there's one 6 feet away, 6 or 7 feet, over to this other one. So we got a Y of equal length rods. So there's a rod here going straight over there. There's a rod right there going straight over there. Equal length ground runs to the punch through. And then and on the other side of the fence, there's two others. Okay, so that means we have four in all of these ground rods, and I'm sure you heard me tell you about them before. They are 101 copper, which is, they don't make ground rods in 101 copper. You have to buy it and have them made. So it's high conductivity, oxygen-free copper, and then silver plated. And they're 3/4 inch in diameter, so they're big fatties. So we're gonna have very, very, very low capacitance, like no resistance, just very. It's really gonna be something else. I can't wait to hear it. So let me go over in here. We are now coming into the room, and I will turn around. Okay, so here's where we finished up today. Okay, these are on the outside. Okay, so this was run from that panel, and then there's one over behind the Studer machine, and this is just for ancillary equipment. We'll have the Studer there. We'll have something else. Who knows what'll be over here, but at least there's the plug. Now the main ones, the main runs that we have, these are all home runs. Okay, so let me move this bass trap. Okay, so what we got over here, okay, we got dual 10 gauge runs, twisted pairs. Each one of these is an individual home run back to the panel. It's on its own breaker, and then that's just for ground, which I'm actually gonna swap. Well, that's for ground. Okay, so never mind. That's each one will have its own ground, is what I'm saying. So this home run and that home run, and we're going to do 220. We've got them wired right now at 220. So in the end, I'll have two home runs here for 220 volts for the mono blocks. Each mono will have 220 volts and its own home run back to the breaker, its own breaker. Okay, so nothing, I mean, this is going to be running as efficiently as you can possibly run. In the middle, we will have another dedicated circuit. This is also a home run for a 20 amp home run, and this is going to be 115, 120, whatever, and go back to the panel. This will be for all the front end components, DAC and preamp and all that other stuff. Okay, and then over here we have the second dual 220 run, which will be for the monos on the left side. Okay, and then these 3, 4, 5, they all feed. Let me turn on the light this time. Go over here. Oh, by the way, in here is, if you can see that in the rack, that's the home theater stuff that never gets touched. Although I leave it on, which is kind of crazy. I think those are the subwoofer amps. We should probably turn these things off because they don't need to be on. Emotiva, Dan Loffman, good guy. I just called him and said, dude, give me a big amp. That's a pretty big amp. I hardly use the thing. I just don't listen to the Marantz for the pre-pro. And then, oh, that's a cool little, this is a 2 buffer stage that I made. That's, I don't use it right now for anything. I just put it there because I was going to play with it. And then the old Oppo, whatever the hell it is. And then a Sonos, which is always on, and that thing plays the music out on the deck. And then we've got all the wires here. These are the ones that will go do all the in-walls, okay? Because the home theater rig or the sound in here is all the in-wall stuff. So if we look up over here, we've got one speaker there. We've got another speaker behind Buddha. And then on the other side, and then over next to the, you can't, oh, well, there, you see that right channel over there? And then there's one behind the center, behind that screen, that's acoustically transparent screen. You got the other channel there, and then the other one up there. So that's for the home theater, but, you know, who cares about home theater? Not me anymore, really. I mean, it's fun and all, but I just don't use it. And then these are wild. These are from that same BG Radio company. These are subwoofers, man, and there's 3 of them right there. These things fit in the stud cavity. So these things fit in a 4-inch stud cavity in between your 2x4s in the walls. You just put them in the walls. And you've got in-wall subs, and actually this is the back side, but the other side has a cavity or an opening right there, and you just come out of there, see that? Like that. You just come out of, you put the cover over it, and it's like a long rectangle vertically, and that's the output for the sub, so it's kind of interesting. Boy, we'll get to that thing later. Okay, so here we've got the panel, okay? So this is pretty killer. This is all audio rig, and I should put a cool, some sort of decal right there that's like, hell yeah, audio, you know, and something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so there's our box, okay? So this is all dedicated and isolated from the rest of the house. This is going to be the audio system. We got monoblock left, monoblock right on those 220s. And then we've got, well, let's see. Oh, here, okay, so it's monoblock, one monoblock right, another monoblock right, and then one monoblock left, and another monoblock left. And then the 2 outlets on the outside, and then the middle outlet, okay? And then what we did was we came in down here with the grounds. Okay, these are those 4-gauge that I showed you outside that are going straight to the earth ground, these puppies. And then we're going to put a grounding block, like a star ground point right here. We'll put a grounding bus bar, and we'll put another, you know, we'll put 2 of them here. Okay, and then they will feed well, one will be for all the safety grounds. Okay, so here's some junction boxes here. These go up and allow us to check it out. Look at that, man. Wow, dude, this is the power for the amplifiers. Coming right in down here, bam! Yeah, it's serious, man. I mean, this is killer. I love this stuff. Most people would think this is ugly. This is cool as hell to me. I mean, this is badass. So, okay, so check it out. Okay, so we have our mains coming up from here, our feeds, and then our ground is stealthily placed underneath this shelf, and so our grounds are separated. I do not run the electric, the live stuff, with the ground. I separate it out so there's no induced current onto the ground plane. So our live and neutrals are going to come up here, and this shows that the amp is separated. The ones that are going to go to the 220 are separate from the one that'll be the 115 or whatever. And then they come down here. They terminate at the box there. You can see that curvy one. This is where the ground comes in for safety ground. And then the 2 run over there to that side. And then you can see this up here heads over that way to complete our circuit over there. This one goes to the right and goes down to the bottom there. Look what I got stashed in my closet, man. A First Sound Paramount. Dude, I really want to listen to this thing. And it's got, look, underneath it's got, it's a preamp with dual power supplies, you know, separate right and left power supplies for this thing. And it's supposed to be just the cat's meow, but it has 0 gain. So you really, I don't understand really how to do it. You probably just have to have huge powerful amps or something, I don't know, or you just, there's a way to work it. You use a tube maybe with more gain or something like that, but I'll figure it out later because I don't really use single-ended right now, but I won't sell this thing for some reason. I got 3 preamps and line stages, and even though I haven't used a line stage in a long time, I have the feeling they'll become back in fashion and people will want them, and I don't want to get rid of them. I mean, line stages are cool. Okay, so this is the electric. Okay, we are sorted, brothers. There is absolutely no better way to wire your hi-fi system than I just showed you, okay? Now, this renders all the grounding BS that people, it's not BS, okay? The grounding stuff, I should say, turn this off. This renders all the grounding control and all that. I got an Akiko Corelli over there. All the companies that do the groundings, boxes and stuff. They're useless here. You know why? We have an actual earth ground that goes right out the back there, and I've got a rod that goes 8 feet into the soil with high conductivity 3/4 inch solid copper that's silver plated. So I'm killing it in terms of ground. There is no shortage of ground here, and it's very short, and it's a very direct path, and it is very high quality. Not only that, but we have divided it into one of those two of those ground wires outside the earths will go to safety ground, which means the third prong on all these plugs. Okay, that'll be safety ground. And then the other one is completely dedicated to signal ground. Okay, so that means like on the back of our components, I love these tubes. This thing is a heat generator. It's pretty awesome. But anyways, okay, so this on the outside of the RCA, here, so you can see this one easier. On the outside of the RCA, this outer ring, that's signal ground, okay? This amp or any amp references that as its point of 0. It should be nothing, so it can reference the voltage to create the signal and the amplitude. And if that thing's all over the map because there's induced current on the ground, it's going to be incorrect. It's not going to do it right. It's not going to do it. If we're going to get OCD about it, we want it done, then we bring our own power in and we isolate it from the house and we run our own earth grounds and we do it this way. So that commences the AC power part of this whole project. Next stop is room treatment. Well, next stop is audio rack. So on this wall here, I will put, you can see it over there, I designed it and then they sent me all the parts. Those are extrusions, aluminum extrusions. It'll be pretty killer. And then over there, those are Vehement made. Or no, a local guy made those for me. But it's Baltic birch ply that is going to be the shelves. And then the rack will go here. And so the next step is to set the audio system up and to flip this room, to put all the chairs are going to be back by the screen, that those two racks will be gone. All that gear will be put on a rack that's going to go here. And then the speakers will be, right and left, where this table's out of here. All this stuff has to, it's a little undertaking, but I'm into it. So that'll be next. And then we room treat this thing. Okay. These are sad little half measures for room treatments. They worked, definitely, but they didn't totally sort the room, because we just sort of threw them in here. That's a bass trap right there. We just sort of threw them in and just arbitrarily put them up, and they fixed some things, but, we weren't calibrating and measuring and doing all that stuff. So the next step, we calibrate, we measure, we make huge bass traps, we do all the right proper things to make this room have a flat response, so we're not, hearing the room. Really, you have no idea how much of the sound you hear is your room interacting with your rig. And if you're reviewing or which I do, or you're talking about music or critiquing things, mixes or what have you, unless you've dialed the room, you are listening to your room and other things, and it's really not accurate. It might sound great, okay, and grant, okay, and that's fine, but it's not accurate. So that's what we're after here is accuracy. We'll get rid of all this whole thing, mishmash of heeble hobble, schneeble schnabble stuff, amps and DACs and such, bunch of stuff, clean it up and have something nice and put together. The Maggies will get, after we get the room straight, then we make these pretty. Okay, we redo these baffles, we cover that with some nice, I've got some great ideas, but my idea at first was to have a aluminum frame, do it like, out of those extrusions. But you know what? After Vehement brought these, sent these over, they're so pretty, man. I'm like, man, I should match the Maggies so that if they ever sell, we sell them together. Wouldn't that be the thing? I don't know. Why don't you tell me what you think? Otherwise, I was going to do these panels in an aluminum frame just all by themselves, like hanging off, like with the tweeter over there on its own. They'd be really killer looking and high tech and cool with an integrated frame on back and stuff. They'd be badass. But we could still do a baffle like this, walnut, and then make a baffle and then do something else that matches with these so it has a better visual appearance and it doesn't look so different from one another. So that would be the consideration. Anyway, so that is where we are on the journey of the conversion of the room to a well-sorted hi-fi room, OCD style. So don't you go changing.